And welcome to the latest episode of Nerds Amalgamated. With us this week, we have the usual lineup of the DJ.
Hey guys.
How you going, DJ?
I'm going good. Another busy week.
It's good to hear. Anything exciting?
Besides the usual work, assignments piling on, and nothing special.
So I'll take that as a no. Also with us, we have the Professor.
Hello.
How you going?
I'm good.
Anything exciting this week? No dropped CPUs, etc.?
No, I've managed to save money this week.
That's
I
good.
have almost finished my amateur radio license, though.
Oh, heaven help us. Actually, does this mean we get to buy a ship now and sit just off the coast and do a pirate radio station?
Possibly. I mean, you won't even need a license to do that, because by definition, it's breaking the law anyway.
But that's the reason why you got to sit outside the national waters. Yeah. Anyway, enough about my wanting to just live on the high seas away from people. Also with us, we have the fantastic Shaun from XCT Comics2Movies. I can't remember the other.
Olympus.
That's it.
G'day, guys.
So Shaun's just come back from that horrible part of the world known as America. But yeah, you tell us where you were.
I was over in San Diego at San Diego Comic-Con, so I'm super excited to release the first ever Australian independent comic book series exclusive for the event, and I was over there doing that and having some fun.
Disney didn't try to buy you out while you were there?
No, unfortunately. So I did go around and see a couple of the other small publishers and everything. It was really good to see quite a few books that I've seen up on Kickstarter actually at San Diego. So that's really cool to know that there's a kind of a correlation of some success on Kickstarter and being able to attend some of these really big conventions.
Awesome. Anything really stand out? Like anything really cool? Who did you meet?
I was pretty lucky. So I won in the lottery the meet and greet for The Flash. So I got to meet the whole cast of The Flash. So Grant Gustafson was one actor that I've always kind of wanted to meet. So that was really cool. Got to meet the whole cast out of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So that was a lottery, not a lottery, a morning ticket type things. They had to run from the door to the ABC booth and get this ticket. So that was cool. I got to meet them. Got to meet Robert Kirkman. So I'm a big Walking Dead fan. So that was something that was extremely exciting, and it was really cool. Got to meet the whole cast out of Winona Earp. I haven't watched all of the series, but I watched the first season and enjoyed that. So I'm going to go back and watch the next two, and then the big highlight and the one that I got the most kick out of was I got to meet the whole cast of the Mayans. So I'm a big Sons of Anarchy fan, and Mayans is a spin-off of that, and got to meet the whole cast and crew, which was about 13 or 15 cast members, which was amazing. So yeah.
Oh, you too? Oh man, Mayans. That's a good show, man. That's a good show.
Yeah, only a few more weeks, and I think it's back on the air again. So looking forward to it.
Well, Winona Earp stood out to me there. I really enjoyed the first season, but I haven't gotten around to watching the second yet.
Yeah, that was the same with me, Professor. Like, I've watched the first season. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was something different. But yeah, I don't know whether there's just been so much like available that it's not something that I'd kind of gone back to. But after meeting the cast who was super cool, I was like, okay, I'll go back and watched that again. I really wanted the Titans signing, so I really enjoy that series, but I don't know whether it was publicized over here or not, but one of the stunt actors was killed on set. So they actually cancelled the announcement and everything, and their signing and all that at San Diego.
Yeah, I had actually heard something about that. I wasn't too sure how things were progressing. I'd heard there'd been an injury, possible fatality, but yeah.
So it was fatality, unfortunately. So, they. My understanding from I was speaking to someone at the Warner Brothers booth, and they have actually worked on the set, and they were saying that the whole set and crew are very much like a tight knit family type of thing. So when it happened, it really hit all of them quite hard type of thing. So which you can understand, like whenever you're working that closely with anyone. I know just going away on conventions and everything, when you spend such a big chunk of time almost in each other's pockets, you do become quite close and almost family-like. So
yeah, it's always a horrific thing. Doesn't matter how the person goes. It always hits everyone around you. You didn't do the cringy thing with the Mayans, did you? Like, I know I've heard stories of people doing some pretty stupid things with the cast from Sons of Anarchy back in the day. So you didn't try to do the super cool gangster sort of stuff with them?
Nah. Because I've been lucky enough to meet quite a few celebrities and that in my travels, and have a couple of the Australian actors as friends. The biggest thing that they don't want to hear is I'm your number one fan. You can imagine being at a convention and having every single person say I'm your number one fan. I even, in one of my issues, I even joked about that with Spartacus at a convention, saying, "Oh, I'm your number one fan." The next person comes up, I'm your number one fan. The next person comes up, I'm your number one fan. So whenever I meet celebrities, I always say, I really appreciate your work, because it's their job, and that's what they want to hear, that you appreciate actually what they do and what they're putting out. So that's how I approach it. And I've got too much of an Aussie accent to try and be gangster as well. So we're definitely not going down that avenue.
So I know you said you met the Mayans cast. Who was the best cast member? Who's the favorite?
I was going to say that was a dangerous question to ask there. Who's the best?
Yeah. You've put me on the spot here now. Like, who would? Well, I always liked the main character Ezekiel, so JD Padaro. So I really enjoyed meeting him, but the funniest guy was probably Antonio Jaramillo, who's Mikal or Riz on the show, and meeting Emily Thomas or Sarah Bollinger was fantastic. She was absolutely beautiful in person and that, but they were all really cool. Like, I was saying to them that they need to come to Australia to promote the show and do a bike ride from Melbourne to Brisbane, or from Brisbane to Melbourne or something. I reckon that would be an awesome promotion for the series type of thing, because all of those guys actually do have bikes and actually enjoy riding and stuff. So yeah.
Could you just imagine all the roads would be getting shut down just because every man and his dog who owns a bike would want to be able to get out there and join in the ride? It'd be the biggest polka run Australia's ever seen.
Yeah. I got a question for you from one Suns fan to another. Was Chucky there?
No,
Ah,
no. So, Tony Palana, he wasn't there, which was one I would have liked to have met. Chucky, I guess, was only in a couple of the episodes, so I wasn't expecting to kind of see him there. But all the other main characters were there, including the main villain Danny Pino or Miguel type of thing. So yeah.
Sweet.
in terms
So,
of
I'm sorry.
you first, Buck. Yeah, you first. Sorry.
I was just going to say, so just out of curiosity, is Edward Olmos as intimidating when he looks at you with over his glasses in real life?
Yes and no. He was very. I actually don't know how old he is, but he did look quite frail, which is quite interesting because in the series and everything, he comes across as a very strong character. So he was born in 47. So what does that make
72.
him? 72. Geez. Okay. So no wonder he looked a little frail. But yeah, you're right. When because you're standing up and he's sitting down signing. So he's got his glasses on the brim of his nose, and he looks up at you and he just kind of smiles and says hello, and you kind of freeze for a second. And it's like, oh, hey, how you going? Type of thing. So yes and no type of thing. So.
Okay. Yeah, 'cause I think the first thing I ever remember seeing him in was Blade Runner and then Miami Vice.
Yeah, Miami Vice, yep.
So, yeah, he's one of those actors that's always been around, and whenever you see him do the look over where he drops the angle of his head down a bit and just looks over the top of his glasses, you just think, you're in trouble.
What role was he in Blade Runner?
I can't remember what part he played in Blade Runner, but I just remember he was in there when we were looking at it the other month.
He was sorry to interrupt, Bucky. He was Edward James Olmos. He was Detective Gaff in Blade Runner.
Oh, really?
That's it.
He was Lieutenant Marty Costello in Miami Vice, and in the re-imaged Battlestar Galactica, he was William Adama.
Mm-hmm.
I think the word you're looking for is reimagined.
But he was also, like, if you go looking through the list of his credits, he was in The Green Hornet, Dexter, Scary Guy in Two Guns. He's just such a fun actor.
Yeah, I didn't realize he was also in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah, he was.
He was in Dexter.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, almost was Gonzalez from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Good. He played good. He played good.
Right. Well, they're saying the series starts on the 3rd of September. So that's actually not that far away at all.
Sweet.
Just a few days. So it'll be the 4th of September for us. But yeah.
So I know you met all the cast and crew members of TV shows. Did you met any besides Robert Kirkland? Have you met any other comic guys?
Well, I'm a big fan of J. Scott Campbell, so I went to his booth. I've met him quite a few times, so that was kind of cool. Then my favorite artist of all time is Humberto Ramos. So I went past his booth again because he had a brand new art book. So I went and saw him. Then I walked around and saw some of, I wouldn't say lesser known comic artists, but Artist Alley there is like our guest artists here. Like, it's just crazy. You've got Ron Lim, who did Infinity Gauntlet and Infinity War, sitting next to Jerry Gaylord, who does Warner Brothers and does Scooby Doo, and has worked on my series XCT as well, and then so it was kind of really cool to walk around there and see all these other amazing artists and everything. So just introduce myself, got some cards, and looking to kind of do some some connections and get some really cool artwork done. Either with XCT or whatever other projects that I'm going to be working on. So
besides Ron Lim, who were the others again? Alberta Ramos?
Humberto, Humberto Ramos, Ramos.
Yes, yep.
Then you got Jerry Gaylord. Who else was there? Adam Hughes. I went past his table. You got Terry Dodson. Really anyone that's anyone was there. Not going to pronounce his name right, but Jerry Verdeslant. Not sure if I'm saying that properly, but
don't worry, we've made it a game to find the most uncomfortable names to pronounce.
Yeah.
Shout-outs.
But he does all of the Star Wars artwork for Acme Archives. And man, some of his work there was just like really amazing type of thing. So I was really trying hard not to buy too much stuff. I'm building a house at the moment with our roof just going on today, and I've got a certain amount of space these days to kind of put up my artwork when I move in, and then I'll have to get rid of everything else.
So let me guess, the house is on hold at the moment because you got 3 container loads of memorabilia to bring back?
No, I was really good. Last year that I went, I did my whole budget in preview night, which is only 4 hours. No, 3 hours. So I was much better this time. I got through the whole convention without going through my whole budget, which is yeah.
So Jerry Van der Stel, hey, that must have been an epic meet just to see all the Star Wars posters.
Yeah. Well, being such a Star Wars fan, I've always tried to pick up some Star Wars stuff whenever I travel to those type of events. But I knew I was going to Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. And I had done a little bit of research and knew that you could build your own lightsaber and everything there. So that's where I set a little bit of money aside, and I went and did that.
Nice.
You'll have to bring it along and show it to the men and ladies at Sons of Obi-Wan Lightsaber Academy. Yes.
I don't know whether they come to the Melbourne show, but if they do, I'll definitely have to show them. So I was pretty happy with it. I did a purple lightsaber.
Okay.
But got the actual kyber crystals in every color that they had available, other than yellow and white. They didn't have that available. So
okay. Yeah, that's it's one of those things on the bucket list. I've got to get myself one day as a lightsaber or two. But moving along, I suppose we should probably get on with the rest of the show, otherwise we'll run out of time.
Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. I'm just taking it all up there.
Honestly, we're enjoying it. We're nerding out.
I was going to say...
you mean this isn't a Comic-Con fan podcast?
I was going to say, before we continue, did you enjoy all the movie trailers while you were there?
Well, I didn't get into Hall H. So that's the main one that shows all of the trailers. So I literally saw the trailers online, probably a little bit earlier than everyone back here. But yeah, I don't know if I said that Tom Cruise was there, so we'd seen him and that. So I saw the Top Gun trailer when that dropped. They'd released the trailer for the Dark Crystal Netflix series, which drops on Netflix tomorrow. So yeah, it was. Sorry,
What series was that?
the Dark Crystal.
Oh, that's the Dark Crystal series dropping tomorrow.
Yeah, on Netflix. Come on, Buck.
I'm not going to be available tomorrow. Sorry.
Yeah, you sound unwell, mate. You sound be able to go to work tomorrow.
Yeah, my phone and everything's just going to be switched off.
We've got young nephews and nieces and whatever. Just tell them you caught that rotavirus off them.
I'll just vanish. I just won't be around. Sorry, folks. But yeah, moving along now. Professor, you've got a story about Valve turning away a researcher.
Well, it comes up as Valve turning them away, but the blame kind of lies a bit in between. So companies like Valve that have software products will often have a bug bounty. So if you find a bug or a way to hack their software, you can report it to them and they'll pay you a bounty for finding it and telling them first so that they can fix it before the world finds out.
Mm-hmm.
And expanding on that, you get responsible disclosure. So if you find a bug in someone's software, ethically, you're supposed to tell them like 30 days or a couple of months or however long it is before you release it to the public so they have a chance to fix it. And it turns out a couple of people have been going to HackerOne, who are a third-party bug bounty sort of broker, I guess, and they got turned away for having extremely serious privilege escalation hacks on Steam.
Okay.
So it's been in the news recently because the issue is so severe. But the good news is Valve has patched the issues that have come to light in this this news.
Yeah, because I remember years ago, one of my friends that I used to hang out with and go to LAN parties and that sort of stuff used to actually do firewall testing, and he always said the biggest target to make your name with was Lloyd's of London. He said that the bounty for them was 5 times as much as what the CAA offered. So,
Wow.
But when you consider the fact that Lloyd's of London is the people who insure the space shuttle, that sort of stuff, they've probably got more money than the CIA. So yeah, it's always one of those things. I've always loved the idea of they have the guys out there, and it's just they have the open challenge of if you can do it, we will pay you to show us.
Yeah, and a lot of the time they will offer you a cybersecurity job if you are prolific enough in the bounty program.
Yeah.
So it's a big part of networking and getting a job in the industry.
So
Yeah,
does
I think-
that? Oh,
Sorry, DJ, you go.
I was going to say. So does that mean? So if my memory serves me right, you've turned from a black hat hacker to a white hat hacker.
No, you can be a white hat hacker while you're doing this.
Yeah, this is white hat because they invite you to do it with the bug bounty. Black hat would be if you did it anyway and then used it to hack in and empty their bank accounts or whatever.
Yeah. So Lloyd's is one of the first ones to actually implement that program, from what I can understand. And yeah, they've had the attitude of if you can breach their security and get into certain levels, the higher up the level, the bigger the bounty, that sort of stuff. And if you get your name there as one of the people who's done that, it's basically, yeah, you just have people throwing money at you to come and work for them.
And there are whole training websites like Hack the Box or VulnHub that have they've got basically puzzles set up for you to try to hack as a practice run.
Mm-hmm.
But so the reason these researchers got turned away by HackerOne is that the wording of the agreement with Valve and HackerOne for what would be covered under the bounty was ambiguous. And so these issues they found were clearly extremely severe. If you can basically, if you can get a privilege escalation hack, you have full access to the computer because you can get yourself in as an administrator.
Mm-hmm.
And so he reported it to HackerOne. HackerOne declared his bug out of scope and rejected him, basically. So the exploit wasn't going to get fixed until he made us think about it.
I'm guessing someone at HackerOne is now looking for a new job.
Well, that's a good question, because one of the hackers in the article, his name is Prevet. He is still banned from HackerOne because HackerOne was trying to enforce a kind of NDA on them. HackerOne was like, traditionally you would make your responsible disclosure to the company behind the software, wait for the waiting period, then release the bug to the public, and in a way that helps shame the developer into fixing the problem if they haven't done it yet, and it also lets people know that there is a problem to be fixed. But in this case, HackerOne was trying to say, no, you can't have money for finding this bug, and no, you can't tell anyone about it.
Oh.
Well, yeah, that obviously didn't work too well for him, did it?
You're just asking for them to hack you again, aren't you? Doing that. You're just almost laying down the gauntlet of going, okay, I'm gonna screw you over here now and actually do the wrong thing rather than the right thing.
Exactly. It's like that's the whole reason why the bounties are there, is to encourage the people to say, hey, I found this, so it can be fixed. And that way it saves them money.
Yeah.
Because I think the bounty here was, what was it? 500 security issues with a payout of 675,000 in bounties.
Yeah,
But when you
500 issues, and looks like the average is about 1.9 issues per researcher.
Yeah, so
it's a pretty well-paying job.
When you consider the fact that if these guys had done the right thing, that's how many billions of dollars go through Steam?
A lot.
Like yeah. It's cheaper to just give them the money and say thank you for bringing this to our attention.
Yeah, definitely. It's just it kind of makes no sense, because as you said, you're almost putting a flag up, going, okay, now come for us, type of thing.
Can you imagine the HR investigations for this?
I can imagine people from Valve, when they found out about it, going in with a microscope and crawling through the private cavities of everyone from the top of the company down to the very bottom. I think the only person that would have been safe from getting a proctological examination would have been the cleaning crew, because they probably don't touch a computer, but everyone else probably would have, like even the receptionist would have been getting scanned and checked over and investigated.
Yeah. It's also interesting how they try to make this feel like a conflict of interest issue as well.
How so?
Like you could be working for another company, like maybe Epic or something like that.
I don't think that comes up often.
And the reality is, you don't care who it is that finds the fault. Whoever finds the fault and tells you about it, you pay them the bounty, because the alternative is you lose hundreds of millions of dollars and face congressional hearings and all that in America.
If you assume that, like, even if you've never heard of the bug before, if one person comes to you, you can bet that someone else is going to find it eventually, and they might not be a nice guy and tell you, and then you're screwed.
Mm-hmm. Because what was that? The breach on security with Sony going back a number of years now. They turned around and they actually advertised the fact that they had been breached and were rectifying the problem straight away. And there was a big congressional hearing into it, and Sony came out as having done everything exactly right, because they had someone who had breached, and they made sure that everyone was aware that there was the breach, and they disclosed the level of breach and everything like that. And I think they put everything on hold for a while they fixed it. But yeah,
didn't they have to shut down PlayStation Network for a few weeks?
Yeah, like they shut it down, and because
they weren't sure whether
everyone.
Yeah, because they weren't sure whether it was just the employees and their families and details, or whether it was the whole like PlayStation network of people, excuse me, people that were on the network and all their payment details and all that type of stuff.
It wasn't actually even just PlayStation. The final investigation showed that Sony's gone through and actually investigated for the entire of Sony, not just the PlayStation aspect. So as soon as there was a breach in one section of data security for Sony, their guys have just gone, right, everyone, we're going this. And they just went through and checked out the entire Sony worldwide empire. So that's Sony Music, Sony Movies, Sony Games, the lot.
Wow.
Because they supply software and hardware to military level institutions and stuff. So yeah, they don't mess around with their security. It's like the same as Samsung. Someone tried breaching there. I remember hearing a few years back, and yeah, they went pretty hardcore in their response. So anything further we need to look out for with this, Professor?
Well, keep an eye on the news. I think the story's still developing, but I think the immediate threat has passed. Valve have apparently patched the issues that have been brought forward. It's a very serious issue. A privilege escalation basically means you can do anything, you can run any software you want. But the good news is the patch has been made and the issues being worked on. They're going to work out their bug bounty and make sure that this doesn't happen again, because they've changed their bug bounty terms so to make it clear that privilege escalations and running malware through Steam are included.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully it'll be a more secure future for Steam.
Sweet. Alrighty, well, moving along. Since we're talking about mending things, we've actually got the next story is about lasers welding ceramics. So, don't know if you guys are aware of the level of usage with ceramics and so forth, but there's lots of technology where they want to use it, but it's limited in its application because of just the fact that the process of welding and joining and enclosing circuitry and so forth has to be done at such high temperatures it would actually melt the circuitry and destroy it. So it's just not feasible.
As discovered by every amateur with a soldering iron.
Yeah.
And
we're talking like pacemakers and stuff as well here. So yeah, it's pretty intense sort of things. But you're going to say sorry there, Professor?
Oh no, I was just joking that I've been there and melted my circuits a couple of times.
I think everyone has. Is that what happened to the DJ? You were trying to solder something and melted his circuitry?
Just a little.
Okay.
Thanks, man. Thanks for the fix, Professor. You owe me a new arm.
You weren't using it anyway.
Oh, I will use it when I get it fixed.
Anyway, a group of engineers led by UC Riverside and UC San Diego, so just where Shaun's come back from, have worked out a way of using lasers to weld ceramics, and they've actually done it in a manner that passes a test under vacuum conditions that are the same that are used for test electronic components and so forth for varying levels, including space exploration material stuff. So they've been playing around with lasers at and they're calling it a ultra fast pulsed laser welding, but it's a low level laser at less than 50 watts, which means it operates at room temperature, and it's a small pulse over the sweet spot so far is ultra fast pulses, 2 picoseconds at high repetition rate of 1 megahertz, along with a moderate total number of pulses. So yeah, apparently that's the best optimum process, but at the moment they're only doing small welds, and they're wanting to get it up into much higher level and larger substances.
Can you imagine once this research becomes complete, it'll be used on things like fixing up ceramic knives and fixing up ceramic shells on cars?
The ceramic knives thing, it'd be possible, I guess. I'm thinking more along the lines of non-metallic pacemakers.
Yeah, like you can just grind a ceramic knife back to sharp, can't you?
Well, it all depends on how it's broken, but
I suppose if it's broken and not just blunt, then yeah.
yeah, because this is welding, so it's joining it back together. So it's actually liquefying and melting. I don't know how much people out there are aware of welding. When you look at an oxyacetylene weld, it actually, the heat turns the metal liquid and it fuses together and becomes one piece. And it's actually stronger than the material around it. So, and you have some of the welders out there that are artistically enabled to the point where their welds are absolutely beautiful works of art. So using this, I'm thinking, yeah, like pacemakers are no longer going to have metal, which means they're not going to be affected by things such as CAT scans and MRIs. Going through airport security would be a bit more comfortable for some of the people with a pacemaker in them.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, when we were talking last week about the process of filtering carbon dioxide in outer space, you'd probably want to have the gold filaments that are used in the process being held in place by ceramic holders, just because of there'll be less interference from any other electrical charge, etc.
Yeah. By the way, in terms of the ceramic coatings in cars, I think I can see this one as well. See this laser type being applied on ceramic coatings with like automotives, for example.
Yeah, like I know that they like you get ceramic engine blocks and that sort of stuff, and yeah, like there's a lot more ceramic stuff around you than what you probably don't realize is actually ceramic. Just because of the strength and quality of it these days. So yeah, like this is pretty new technology, and it's different to everything else because the way they would normally have to do it is they'd place the pieces into essentially like a giant kiln and have to raise it up and melt the material together. But that would produce inconsistencies in the heating process because with varying thicknesses and that sort of stuff. And yeah, it just truly isn't viable for repairing most things. It's easier to just take it and replace it.
Yeah.
Which with ceramics isn't too bad because you can grind it down and reprocess it and reuse it and recycle a lot more easily than most other materials. But it's not an easy process.
It will take a lot of time just to get the process through. I think with lasers, I think it will halve that process.
Yep. And I'm hearing Shaun's brain ticking over going, I can see this in one of our future issues.
It's interesting because my dad's a boilermaker by trade, so he was I grew up around him having the oxy-fuel welder and doing all that type of welding and all that type of stuff. So I'm just trying to think and have a understand how and where they would use this type of thing. So, but I think that's the great thing with innovation is when people come up with new things, new ways to do things. Sometimes what you would necessarily use it for is not the first thing that comes to mind, and then someone comes along and uses it for something completely different. You're like, wow, I would have never thought that you could use that process to do this or whatever. So yeah.
Well, I was just thinking, I'm Ceramic Man. Dun, 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 dun.
I think you're more of a crackpot than ceramic.
Oh.
But yeah, no, look, honestly, yeah, the same as last week. Like this is only the very early stages of this, and yeah, like the possibilities are just mind blowing because, like they say in the start of the article, like smartphones that don't scratch or shatter, electronics for space and other harsh environments. So yeah, like it's just
all the screen case covers are gonna love that.
Well, there's actually
send China out of business, mate.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
Okay, so
You
Moving
realise
right
there is actually a ceramic. I think is it a Bugatti Veyron?
oh, that would be amazing.
For all my fellow car lovers, you may have heard of a blogger on YouTube called Supercar Blondie, an Australian lady who goes around and drives all these amazing different cars. She's actually one of the very few handful of people who's actually driven these. I think it's a ceramic Bugatti Veyron.
It's a porcelain.
Porcelain, is it?
Yeah.
Well, porcelain is essentially ceramic, but yeah, like that's just They can now repair it if it has a crash.
Wow.
I'm just imagining some guy with a box full of shards of ceramic and a laser just gluing it back together, like when you smash a vase.
No, you don't. You wouldn't smash this thing. Like, I think the DJ's posted a link there for us. If you actually go and have a look at it, it's probably tougher than a lot of other cars out there. But it's just, it's just absolutely ridiculously insane.
Can you imagine on an episode of Highway Patrol, like the Bugatti is just it's all good in good shape, and all the other cars just like, nah, I can't save my own car. My car's wrecked.
Well, kind of defeats the point of crumple zones.
Well, I think it probably does have crumple zones and everything like that, but like this car's probably likely to drive through other cars because of the ceramics. But yeah. It's worth $2.4 million or something, apparently. So
I won't be getting one of those anytime soon.
No, but if you do, you get lots of amazing people come to say hello.
And I've been trying to convince my uncle to bring his DeLorean to the shows, but he won't. He's like, it's locked up, and he does drive it every now and then, but he doesn't even like me getting in it, let alone I think hundreds of people wanting to jump in and touch it or whatever.
Hey, if he does, I'm happy to stand there as security. I'll stand there with a big baseball bat, and anyone who tries to touch it, I'll just knock them on the head.
Well, that's only done 20,000 Ks.
Yeah, but can you blame him? Like,
nah,
they're beautiful cars, but the fuel expenditure is a little bit rough.
Yeah, what's the thing he picked up the other day? He picked up that's it, the Kia Stinger.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the new police car.
Yeah. So I wasn't quite sure, but I jumped into it the other day, and I'm like, tell you what, I really like this. This is really cool. So yeah,
they do have a lot of get up and go.
Again, he wouldn't let me drive it, but I got to sit in it, and
I have friends who are police officers, and yeah, they're impressed with it. But moving along, I suppose we've got the DJ's section. Do we want to give him a section now? Like,
no,
we
we don't have time.
We've already been talking about KFC. I think that's
well, okay.
Thanks, Buck, for giving me that joke.
You're welcome. So we've got the DJ has something about G.I. Joe comics being relaunched.
Oh,
not reimagined, relaunched, or not even reimaged.
I would say, yo, Joe, watch out! But
well, I didn't know they were being relaunched, but now I know. No insult to battle.
He's got the references. The professor's got the references.
Who's it getting published by?
It's IDW this time. So 2 years ago, since IDW cancelled the Scarlet Strike Force, IDW has decided that they're going to reboot G.I. Joe again. It's going to be written by Paul Aller and Chris Evenhouse.
Is it House or Huis?
Huis. Yeah, Huis. Sorry.
No, so I'm not sure of the pronunciation either. I'm just asking.
So yeah,
I was hoping Shaun might actually know these guys.
So Allo has confirmed that this new series is a complete reboot and will not be connected to any of the previous G.I. Joe comics. And the reboot is basically saying, okay, so Cobra has taken over the country, and the fugitives are Conrad S. Hauser, codenamed Duke, and Shana O'Hara, codenamed Scarlet, and they will be trying to take over get rid of Cobra, basically.
Now, are they looking like the movie characters, or are they the original cartoon type characters?
I think they're going with the cartoon characters, from what I've been gathered. The author's basically saying this story is both inspired by both modern warfare, where non-state actors fight vastly overpowered militaries to a perpetual standstill, and World War II, where Great Britain's SOE recruited civilians behind enemy lines.
He's doing the voice again.
So it's interesting how they're going back to the old roots. Well, they've rebooted the system, but not in the way that we've all been seeing recently with the recent Disney reboots and whatnot.
SOE, wasn't that the British, not the American?
Yeah, SOEs were the British, yeah.
So they're actually going to do it properly this time. So they can't actually call it G.I. Joe anymore.
What are they going to call it then?
I don't know, but because they can't call it GI because that's the American is because they can't spell enlistment. They say enlistment, whereas the English and everyone else says enlistment starting with an E. So it'd be G.I. Joves. There you go.
So
or jives.
So a lot of people. So Allo is promising that this old school G.I. Joe fans will love this and find it true to everything G.I. Joe stands for. And the new folks will be attracted to this character-driven tale of hope and humanity, and about the power of resilience, and in an increasingly unraveling world.
But he's not a human. He's a computer. You guys have seen that video, right?
We have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, I was waiting for everyone else to say.
Get on with the meme culture, guys. It's from some people made dubbed versions of the G.I. Joe PSAs years ago.
Oh, yeah.
One of them has a guy being like, "Hey kid, I'm a computer. Stop all the downloading."
Wow, the 90s were really cruel on you, Professor.
Tell me about it. I don't even remember them.
I say, was actually even born in the 90s?
I was. Early enough that I have some memories of them.
So,
I'm no spring chicken.
But here's the thing, though. Some fans were kind of concerned with whether this reboot will effectively kill the old G.I. Joe comic. I don't know whether you guys were familiar with the old G.I. Joe comic by Harmer, known as True American Hero.
No. My only real interaction with G.I. Joe was the kid next door when I was younger had a couple of the figurines, and we managed to get hold of a couple of fireworks.
Oh no.
Yeah. Those suckers do fly. His mum wasn't too happy though when there were bits and pieces of head and all that kind of above.
So with the recent with the Real American Hero, that was the one that influenced like a lot of toys, comics, movies, and whatnot. So Hasbro's VP said that this won't clash with the Real American Hero comics, and this will be a separate continuity. Basically, that's what he's basically putting it out there.
Okay.
Sometimes I just don't know why they just can't create a new story. Why do they have to call it G.I. Joe? Like, if it's a new context and it's maybe from the British, I don't know. All these reboots and everything are crazy. Like what I said the other day, Keanu Reeves is coming back. Number 4 Matrix.
Yeah.
And a number 3 Bill and Ted.
That I was kind of happy with. There should have always been a third one, I reckon, to round it out, because you didn't know, like, did they save the world or not, like, type of thing. I reckon, yeah. So I'm looking forward to that.
I think the people will people love these people love to stick to the old ones without creating original stories because it's a brand. Like you look at Marvel, for example, with all the rebooted heroes.
Yeah.
Even when it came out the first time with most of Marvel's heroes, it was a reboot. They just went and copied them off of DC.
But I think that's sometimes the issue of that mainstream market and why the indie scene seems to be going so well is that you don't have like 500 issues where you don't know where to jump on, and or your reader series, and I really liked the Brand New Day Spider-Man storyline, and then they kind of just did the whole storyline, and then it was like, okay, that never happened, and straight back to where it was before, type of thing. So
yeah, I think that's one of the reasons why, like, a lot of the anime market does so well in comparison to the American, like Marvel and DC and all that, because of the fact that a lot of you got so many stories where it's literally you have a start and a finish
and an
to
end.
the story. Yeah.
Yep.
And it's like they might do another story with that character, but it's a whole new story, and it's always clear. And the only ones they do reimaginings with, and they actually say it's to tell it from a slightly different perspective, such as like the new Ghost in the Shell series. I can't remember what it's called now off the top of my head. Sorry.
You mean Standalone Complex?
No, there's another one they've only done like 4, I think it was.
Yeah, but I agree with you. Even like you look at Dragon Ball Z, like they've just kind of made new iterations of them each time, type of thing. Where at the first time it was really like once you get to Super Saiyan or whatever, that's the highest you can go. But then they just kind of it was such a popular brand that they kept on creating new storylines and extra powers, and Super Saiyan God, and keep going like that. At least they're telling a new story, even if it's fairly similar or whatever. But literally, when you're telling a comic series, how can Spider-Man be relatively exactly the same now as he was 60 years ago? And having gone through all that type of stuff.
Well, it hasn't. They just reboot him every 4 years.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Poor Uncle Ben.
Yeah, I did see that meme. What they had all the different Spider-Mans, and then it had like the new Spider-Man, and he was standing over Uncle Ben with a gun himself. just shooting him himself rather than having to deal with it each time. I was like, oh, that's good. I like that.
Yeah.
Remember that meme, guys, when Captain America was saying Hail Hydra, and then you got other memes as well, like Spider-Man saying I killed Uncle Ben.
Well, the Captain America one was because he was a Hydra agent, Hydra sleeper agent.
Yeah, and then afterwards,
and then everyone
just out of curiosity though, which universe was this in? Because there's so many different universes with the Marvel characters now, where there's a female Thor, female Hulk,
Asian Hulk.
What about the X-Men? When you need to come up with a new X-Men universe, you just put a new adjective in front of it. Ultimate X-Men, Extreme X-Men,
Extraordinary X-Men.
Yeah, that Ghost in the Shell one that I was trying to remember before. It's Ghost in the Shell Arise. So it's a slight. It's actually like it's a new series of stories that bounce off after the after they got the standalone complex stuff and all that sort of thing.
Okay.
So,
there you go.
So yeah, that was 2014, 2015 sort of era. So yeah, but
these reboots are really annoying.
It's just stupidity and laziness. Like,
look, I know myself. Like a lot of people have asked me about my series, and I know very early on that I was going to do or wanted to do a very like long run, so say maybe 50 to 75 issues, but at the same time that there was, I've always got a very, or not set in stone ending, but an ending that I want to do, just finding the way to get there. But that there is going to be an ending. Like I just, yeah, it's not something that, and I enjoy doing the anthologies and doing other short little stories within the same universe. But I want to give people a start, a middle, and an end, and show the evolution and the change within the characters that were in that main storyline. So
It's one of the funniest ones I can think of, a reimagining and a reboot is when you look at The Longest Yard.
yeah,
With
which was a soccer film to begin with.
No. Actually, you go back further.
Oh no, that's right. Yeah, there was a
1974 with
Yep.
Old Bert.
Old Bert, yep. And then there was the Mean Machine, which was the soccer one with what's his
Vin
name?
Diesel. Oh, I'm not Vin Diesel.
Vinny. It's Vinny.
Vinny Jones.
Yeah.
Call him Diesel. Oh.
And then the
Yeah, then you got the 2005 version, and the 2005 version is it's such a sad parody that it's almost like it's making fun of the original. Like Burt Reynolds, when his one, it had comedy and humor in it, but it wasn't like And then when you have the Mean Machine, it's like it's got the humor, but it's also got the it's not poking fun at the original Longest Yard. It's it's sad. They got to get people who've got some imagination.
Well, even this new plot of the new G.I. Joe comic remake, it's basically a rip-off of the movie, the old G.I. Joe movie that came out recently.
Okay.
It was Retaliation. I think that's the one.
Look, honestly, I think as Shaun said, they should just give it a different name. Like instead of just, I think it's because they got a successful brand tag, and they're just gonna try and milk that thing for everything it's worth.
Yeah.
And like I remember one of my lecturers at university when they were saying about this sort of thing, and he put up a picture of a cartoon drawn cow that's just a skeleton with dust blown past, and you got a businessman there trying to milk it to get out more profit. and it's just like, he goes, unfortunately these days this is how some people seem to approach it. A lot of businesses, even after the cow's dead and turned to dust, and you've got a calcified skeleton, they're still trying to milk it for what they can get out of it.
Yeah, but I think sometimes, like, look, I'm a massive Star Wars fan, and I enjoy not all of their new stuff, but some of their new stuff. But sometimes things are good because they're left alone.
Yeah,
and they stand the test of time because they're left alone. Like that first Matrix. Now, if they never did another Matrix other than just that one, I reckon that would have, been one of the best movies of all time. But you talk about the Matrix, and people go, "Oh, the first one was good, but the other two were shit." Like, type of thing. So, I don't know. I think you're right. The people that are in charge are out to milk as much money out of something as possible. And I guess that comes from finance or money people looking at stuff and not the actual creators and the people that, I guess no longer own the rights to their own creations type of thing.
Yeah, and I think the biggest loser for all this is the fans, because you got fans who invest their time in building up this knowledge of the lore in like the G.I. Joe universe, for example. Then all of a sudden you see this reboot and you go, "Oh well, it looks like all this lore is all the time invested is gone to waste."
Well, that's what I was so dejected about Star Wars. Like, I had all the expanded universe comics, I had all the expanded universe books. I'd invested over 20 years of reading, my money, all that type of stuff, for Disney to take over and say, okay, that timeline is no longer valid. We're only taking this, and this, and we're going to build a new lore and a new universe type of thing. Now, that's great for all the new kids, and like I'm introducing my little girl to it, and it's I think that's where I fell in love with it again, because we've been watching Star Wars Rebels, the cartoon series, and it feels very much like Star Wars. And when I first was introduced to it when I was a kid, so I fell in love with it again. But that initial reaction of just like, are you kidding me? Like you're wiping out, all of my investment in not only just money but time and all that for the bottom dollar of making new stuff.
Yeah, it's just a massive insult to everything that's happened. Like, it's just, you got fans like yourself and I grew up with Star Wars, and with all the stuff that Disney's done, it's kind of like, it's such a massive insult to the likes of Carrie Fisher and all the others, like the original C-3PO, like the guy who plays C-3PO and Chewbacca and all that. Like, you got all the original cast. And what it came from, like Star Wars, the original Star Wars, A New Hope, still one of the highest grossing films of all time. Like, it was done on a shoestring budget and made close to $1 billion back in '78. Like, I'm sorry, but James Cameron and all these other ones going on, oh, we're making we're making over $1 billion. Yeah, but you spent how many hundreds of millions of dollars to make that movie?
Yeah, yeah.
And George Lucas turned around back in the 70s. He kitted out his stormtroopers in costumes and outfits that were made using egg cartons and Bloodstone boots that he bought at the hardware store and stuff like that.
And the guns were surplus from World War II.
Yeah, like, there's all these things, like the actual a lot of the spaceships was just egg cartons and ice cream containers and takeaway containers and stuff like that. And they've made this amazing epic piece of film history that's captured, I don't know how many generations would it be now, because we're talking over 40 years.
Yeah, so 4 generations. That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm introducing my daughter to it now. She was born in 2016, and when I brought home my lightsaber, she knew exactly what it was, and all that type of stuff, to my wife's disgust. But I get a real kick out of that. She's like, oh, at the moment, she's like, oh, stormtroopers, they're not nice. Pew 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 pew.
One of my greatest moments as an uncle was when my youngest nephew had the remote control for the TV, and he's gone through looking to see what was on, and he saw Star Wars, and that was it. No one else was allowed to change the channel. Like, he's only 6 years old, and he was just like, "No, we're watching Star Wars.
Yeah,
I want to watch. I want to watch Star Wars with Uncle." And it was just like, boom. I was just like, "I've done well." I had the biggest smile on my face. Like, I thought, yep, I've got the youngest nephew all the way through all the rest of my nephews and nieces. They all love Star Wars.
So did you say, Shaun, that your daughter hates stormtroopers?
Yeah, yep.
Do you know how many innocent people were killed by the rebels on the Death Star?
Oh, they weren't innocent. They were part of the Empire, mate.
But then again, when you consider the fact that the stormtroopers themselves were clones and brainwashed into who they were supposed to be, they weren't actually evil.
Then, were they? I thought they were only clones
conjecture
in the clone bit, and then
I think Americans call them collateral damage.
Yeah, but the Americans also were the people that we had to come up with a saying of when you shoot your own people.
Yeah.
Because it was such a rare occurrence before the Americans started going to war. But after they got involved, they started shooting their own people almost as much as the enemy did. So, but yeah, I think we should probably move along now before we get shot. I think that's the third time I've insulted America tonight alone.
If our viewing numbers go down this week, we know why.
Yes.
So before we move on though, so Shaun, would you ever read them?
I'll tell you what, if they gave the first one away for get free comic book day or something, I might. I really don't know. All the stuff I'm at the moment is from Image or from independent creators or stuff that I've gotten off Kickstarter. The last time I went into the local comic book store, I picked up Walking Dead 193, which happened to be the last issue. I picked up Mr. and Mrs. X because I'm a big Gambit fan, number 12, and that was the last issue. And I picked up The Siege, which was an indie series that I'd been really enjoying, and that was issue 9, and that had been cancelled. So I was like, oh, okay, well, here's series that have telling some really good stories, but for whatever reason they're not selling 350,000 copies because that's what Batman does or whatever. So they get axed. So as I said, most of my stuff now comes from Kickstarter, from conventions, and I guess even TV shows. I'd actually hadn't read the Umbrella Academy before I'd watched the TV series, so that was one thing that I went out and actually started purchasing in retrospect. So
yes, and I'm sorry to say, but I'm still a Phantom tragic. Like it's one of the longest running comics out there.
So did you see the news of that this week?
Was that the Jamie Johnson cover or?
No, that the Kid Phantom and the other spin-off that they'd done, which were the 2 Australian series, were cancelled.
Oh, no. I know Jamie Johnson was doing some of that. He's actually one of the Australian artists.
Yeah, and Paul Mason is a Queensland artist that does the Kid Phantom.
Okay.
So they had announced that due to financial reasons and a business decision that they've decided to cancel the series. So
Bugger.
So you'll still have your original Phantom, but my understanding is that's still all American based with just the Australian covers, I think, for the change here.
Okay, because I have to go and look into that a bit more.
Yeah. To jump on Fru's Facebook page. I don't know if DJ, if you can jump on and that you'll be able to see the announcement that they made the other day.
What's it called again? I'm just
Fru, Frew.
Yep.
Publications. I'm pretty sure it's called.
Okay. Yep. But Buck, here's a question for you. Could you imagine the Phantom comics being cancelled, being rebooted?
Well, see, that's the beauty of the Phantom. It's constantly
Like Doctor
rebooting
Who.
itself. It's constantly rebooting itself because it's a generational thing. Because the Phantom always has kids because he's not immortal, but he appears immortal, and it's just from one generation to the next. So. And
I love the fact that, like some live until they're old, some die while they're young, so some are thrown into it at a young age. Like that, to me, is interesting.
Some of them is you have the brothers as well. Like there was one where the grandfather died and the father took over. He got killed, and then the eldest brother took over because he was the next in line to be Phantom. But he died. And so the younger brother had to take over, and he was still in high school. And then the cousin had to take over eventually as well at one point, or something from memory. So, yeah, it's constantly rebooting itself.
Yeah.
And you've got centuries of content because it goes back to, you can be sitting there and reading through the archives and telling stories from back at whatever era you want to choose. So, yeah.
It's almost like, your Zorro, where you kind of pass that on. Type of thing. And like, you can't say that there's not Marvel characters that they could do that to. Like Batman, they could have done that ages ago. And they kind of did with Batman Beyond with Jason Todd. type of thing, but they always seem to want to come back to the original character. So, you know, Spider-Man, you've got Miles Morales. You know, he's one of the most like popular characters at the moment. Spider-Gwen, you know, all these characters, but you want to come back to the original Spider-Man. You know, the only other character I think that they've probably done it with that they haven't rebooted is really Barry Allen. You know, the Flash. There's been Wally West. There's been what was there was the first one before Barry Allen.
Wally West?
No, Wally West is Kid Flash.
Oh,
Yeah.
I think. Garth something. Garth.
Barry's father.
The library will be closing in 30 minutes.
That's gonna bug me now that I can't think.
But yeah,
That's what I'm saying. It's like that's the difference between really good writing and understanding that, you know, there has to be a beginning, a middle, and an end, but being able to keep up a series for over, like, what's the Phantom up to now? 1,000 and something? Is it almost 2,000? 1,800? Yeah.
1,829.
Yeah, wow. Like,
It's been running since
crazy.
1936, and like my father used to read that when he was a kid.
Yeah.
And it's just like, yeah, it's one of those characters. Yeah,
Jay Garrick, that's it.
You'll get people knocking Batman and everything else, but very few people ever have the guts to go and knock the Phantom. So yeah, it's just such a simple, easy costume, but the story behind it is just, yeah, it's just everyone knows it and loves it.
The one thing that bugs me about the Phantom is that the newspaper my work gets for the lunchroom has it, and they only show 3 panels at a time.
Yeah.
So every day I'm like, wait a minute, what happened? Why is he doing this?
Yeah,
My memory's not that good. I'm getting old.
Wait till he gets to our age, Shaun.
Yeah, that's it. But I think that's and I think that's why I've moved away from single issues to graphic novels for that exact reason. The way we take in information and entertainment these days is very different from 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago. So, you know, you're reading an 18 to 24 page graphic novel comic. You finish that and you're like, oh, what? Like, you know, it's $7 for that. Like, that was, you know, half an hour of my time, like, type of thing, where, you know, you can wait for the graphic novel to come out for $20 and that's 64 to 120 pages, depending on, you know, who's printing it, where you get, you know, several hours of entertainment, like, for not that much more, you know, bang for your buck type of thing, and people can sit down and really enjoy and follow much more of a story rather than, you know, just a single issue. So that's why you know, I've started to move away to the graphic novels, and then for us, it's helped us get distribution and into bookstores, and now we're trying to get into libraries. We are in a few already for that type of reason.
Yeah, like I know some of the places I've worked at, one of the interesting things is you go into the lunchroom, and because it was in like some of the warehouses, you get some of the guys leaving some of the adult entertainment material left lying in the lunchroom. But the number of Phantom comics you find in different warehouses and all that all around the place, and they're always in good condition. Like, everyone will read them, but it's always treated really, really carefully. But yeah, it's just I've been in places where people have gone, oh, you're a Phantom fan. Oh, hang on, have you seen this issue? And you sit there and you start having a chat about it, and it's just, yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. Like, I've had a few people come up to me asking whether we could do a crossover with the Phantom, because you know the Frew has the Australian publication rights to them. So I was like, oh, that's kind of a cool idea. So I might reach out and see whether they would be interested in something like that, which would be kind of cool.
He would definitely win whatever battle you put him into.
Now, would he?
Oh, I see.
The ghost who walks always does, whether or not it's him or his the next goes towards because he doesn't die.
That's right.
But yes, moving along. What game have you been playing this week, Professor?
I've been playing Rainbow Six Siege. I've been setting it to realistic difficulty lone wolf terrorist hunt, and it's brutal.
How many times did you die and how quick?
I think my best run so far has been killing a third of the enemies on the level.
Okay.
So there's 30 enemies on the level 1 realistic difficulty.
Okay. And what about yourself, DJ? What have you been playing?
I've been playing Warframe.
Refresh my memory. What's Warframe?
Warframe is basically a futuristic game where you play as Tenno and you basically acquire weapons. And if my memory is right, you got 3 classes. You've got the Excalibur and 2 other classes I can't remember from the top of my head. But the fun part about this, it's like Assassin's Creed, but ninjas.
Ooh, okay.
So you get the stealth kills, you get to throw kunais, you get to have the swords, you can use guns even. The possibilities are endless. So I've been starting to play that and I'm enjoying it very much.
So it's a space age sci-fi Assassin's Creed.
Yep. I've just
Okay,
been
take
using
my money. I'm in it. I'm on it.
It's free to play. They don't have to take your money.
Sweet.
Oh no, but then there is the loot boxes and the DLC.
Well, actually, because it's not EA, it's not Surprise Mechanics.
Well, this is the game that was heavily promoted by Turtle Biscuit, and they basically credit their success to being featured on his channel.
Okay. Well, he's all right. I don't normally mind him too much.
Yeah, the developers were doing a stream when they got the news, and they started crying on stream.
Jeez.
Anyway,
I mean, the news that he died, not the news that they've been featured.
I was just trying to work out whether they'd be crying that they're being featured, like Tears of Joy, maybe. But yeah.
But yeah, with the game, I've just been playing with the bow and arrow, and I'm just having fun, just doing long distance kills on Warframe.
You're not getting into mixing it up.
As in.
You got to go in and do the close-up kills. You got to do you got to get up right next to them when you stab them.
But it's so fun just playing it on total distance with like a bow and arrow. Just the headshot and all.
That's just doing Skyrim. You got to do the up close and personal, so you can see the whites of their eyes, see the life drain out. Moving along before I get into trouble. What games have you been playing, Shaun?
It's really funny. I went and purchased or pre-ordered the new Star Wars game that's coming out in November. And I think when they were releasing or launching that on Xbox, they had gold for free Star Wars Republic Commando and Star Wars Jedi Academy. So I've actually gone back and been playing them on my Xbox 360. So no, not 360, my Xbox X, which is one which has been great. So the graphics are not fantastic, but it's heaps of fun. So
okay. And I've started playing Albion Online, so that's been a lot of fun, running around and just beating up different people and going hunting for resources. So yeah, I suppose we better move along. So probably going to be running over our time. On to our shout-outs. First up this week, we have Sir Shaun. I think he's Sir Shaun now, isn't he? Or did he refuse it?
I mean,
Shaun
he's a cool guy, but he does comics. He's not like a hero.
Shaun Connery. the old Shaun, not this Shaun. Shaun Connery.
Super hot, good-looking Shaun.
I didn't say that. You did.
You know, Buck. You know it.
Yeah, the man that every other man on the planet wants to be at different times.
What about that scene in Zardoz?
Sorry, what was that?
What about the scene in Zardoz? Where he's in his underwear? Does every man want to be Shaun Connery when he's in Zardoz?
He still looks pretty decent when you consider that. Like, yeah. I'm not going to knock him. I'm not going to knock Shaun Connery. Mainly because of the fact that I think he's cool, and two, I would be kind of scared about the backlash from all the female fans. Your mum might be a fan of Sean Connery, so you better be careful because she can hit you. It was his birthday during the week, so he's 89 now.
Wow.
Yeah. Another reason not to pick on him. He's lived long enough to earn the respect. So that was on the 25th of August. On the 26th, in 1883, we had the eruption of Krakatoa beginning its final paroxysmal stage. 70% of the island and its surrounding archipelago were destroyed as it collapsed into a caldera. Additional seismic activity was reported to have continued until February 1884. Though reports of seismic activity after October 1883 were later dismissed by Roger Verbeek's investigation into the eruption and blamed on computer game violence.
I was waiting for it.
Yep.
Hey, I had to put it in there. On the 26th of August, 1907, Harry Houdini escaped from chains underwater at Aquatic Park in 57 seconds. Many people arrested by the police have been attempting the same trick, just sitting inside the car. But unfortunately, whether it's because they're inebriated or just not talented enough, they just never seem to succeed. On to remembrances. On the 26th of August, 1910, William James, the American philosopher and psychologist, and the first educator to offer a psychology course in the United States. He unfortunately died of congestive heart failure at the age of 68 in Tamworth, New Hampshire, not Australia. Sorry, he wasn't there for the golden. He wasn't there for the golden guitar party.
You can tell it's an inferior Tamworth because it doesn't have a giant golden guitar.
Yeah.
Same with the one in England. They should have a giant golden guitar, but they don't.
But they haven't had Slim
Tamworth's
there.
the best.
They haven't had Slim go and play there either, though. So that's probably the reason why they haven't got a giant golden guitar. 26th of August, 1974, Charles Lindbergh, American aviator, military officer, author, inventor, explorer. Yeah, the list goes on and on. At age 25, he went from obscurity as a U.S. air mail pilot to world fame by winning the Orteig Prize. Unfortunately, on the 26th of August 1974, he died from lymphoma at the age of 72 in Kipahulu, Maui, Hawaii. On the 26th of August 1977, Hans Augusto Rey, also known as H.A. Rey, German-born American illustrator and author, who's best known for one of the world's most best-loved children's picture books, Curious George. Unfortunately, he died of a heart attack at the age of 78 in Cambridge, Massachusetts. Moving on to birthdays. 26th of August, 1740, we have Joseph Mitchell Montgolfier, one half of the Montgolfier brothers, who are best known as the inventors of the Montgolfier style hot air balloon, globe, I'm going to kill you, Professor.
What have I done?
Aerostatique.
Oh. Giving you the hard names.
Yes. They launched their first piloted ascent. Unfortunately, it's actually Joseph Michel, sorry. He was born in Annonay, Ardèche. It's weird, I actually recognize that one. 26th of August, 1910, Mary Teresa Boyahier, more commonly known as Mother Teresa, was born. She was born in Uskup, Kosovo, Villiers, so present-day Skopje, Northern Macedonia. You always have to pause after you read something about Mother Teresa. Have you noticed that? You always got to sit there and think, am I doing enough? 26th of August, 19...
Well, you haven't been sainted yet, Buck, so get to it.
No, it's canonized. When they become a saint, they're canonized.
I'll canon you.
Yeah, bring it on. Come on. 26th of August, 1928, Yvette Vickers, American actress, pinup model, and singer, famous for appearing as Honey Parker in Attack of the 50-Foot Woman, in which she plays the role of the town floozy who has an affair with Archer, who is married to Nancy Archer. So racy back in those days, wasn't it? She was born in Kansas City, Missouri. So, yes. And I don't think we'll say the other bits and pieces we discussed during the week when we're talking about that. 26th of August, 1895, the Adams Power Plant Transformer House delivered its first inexpensive commercial power. Its first customer was the Pittsburgh Reduction Company, which became the Aluminium Company of America, or ALCO, and the PRC facility was adjacent to Adams and used DC current for its electrolysis process for producing aluminium. If you want to know where it was located at Niagara Falls, with the promise of cheap and abundant electricity. The importance of the Hall electrolytic refining process and electricity reflects the price of aluminium at $1 per ounce in 1885 versus 35 cents per pound in 1897. So, yeah, at least they built it in a good spot. They're not like they run out of water.
Yeah, and you have a nice view out the window there.
And you got people going up to Niagara Falls on honeymoon, so if it fails, you can electrocute the husband if he cheats. or if the wife is talking a little bit too much, just zap her for a bit of a lobotomy. Moving along, 26th of August, 1959, the British Motor Corporation introduces the Morris Mini Minor, also known as the Mini Mark I. Yes, this is the legendary car that has seen decades and decades of use and abuse, and people all over the world recognize it just as quickly as a V-dub.
And it's got a great movie about it.
There's actually lots of movies about this one. Better than Herbie.
Yep. Herbie never pulled off a massive gold heist.
Twice. Because you got the original Italian Job as well as the remake.
Yeah.
Have you ever driven a Mini there, Shaun?
A Mini?
Yes.
No.
You're missing out on so much fun. I'm 6'4", and I've actually driven a Mini. I've actually sat in the back seat of a Mini with my brother, who's the same size as me. And when we got out, people thought the car was actually growing legs and about to transform.
No, I did drive in Italy, but we had a bigger car.
So you miss out on all the fun. When you're in a small car, it seems like you're going so much faster. But it also helps you to dodge getting run over quicker as well. On the 26th of August, 2003, the Columbia Accident Investigation Board releases its final reports on the Space Shuttle Columbia disaster. Apparently, it wasn't the teacher pushing the button, saying, "What does this button do?"
I just face palmed. That was bad.
Hey, come on. Back when that happened, that was the joke. Was what was the last thing people heard on the Space Shuttle Columbia before it exploded? The teacher pushing in the self-destruct button saying, "What does this button do?" Kids everywhere loved it.
And
but
people think the world is so much more politically incorrect now.
Oh, no. Political correctness is probably... It's horrible. You can't sit there and make fun of people like you used to anymore. They get too upset. But move along before I get into trouble more than I'm probably already about to. I think that's the end of the show. So, yeah. Thanks for joining us, Shaun.
No problem, guys. Thank you very much for having me. Just thought I'd give you a little tidbit of information as well while I'm creating a brand new series that's called Talos of Sparta, Talos of Sparta, and we've just created a Facebook page so you can go and like that, and launching a Patreon page on the 13th of September to help my creative endeavors with all these series, so you can check that out as well.
Awesome.
Hold on. I've got something for this. Something terrible about putting a roof over your head.
Keeping it there, mate. Keeping it there.
So just, can you spell that out again? Just
yep. So it's Talos, Talos of Sparta, Sparta. We've just created a Facebook page for that. And then the Patreon, we haven't launched the page yet. That'll launch on the 13th. So that'll just be Patreon/Comics2Movies.
Okay, awesome. Twit.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Twit, where can they find us?
They can find us on @AnAmalgamated. They can find us on Facebook. They can find us on that's not canon.com. They can find us on Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes. And if they
Awesome.
have any inquiries, they can send us an email at nerds.amalgamate@gmail.com.
Fantastic. And who are we going to give a shout out to?
I think we should give a shout out to General Queries.
Okay.
Yeah.
Works for me.
Yep. They've been good, doing well. So yeah, let's give them a shout out.
Awesome. And as always, remember to take care of yourselves, look out for each other, and stay hydrated. And we'll catch you next time.
And we will see you next week.
See you guys.
Hooroo.